The guy that is down there calling all the action every single night is our good friend Mark Nasser, who I think has a fancy title of Director of Broadcasting. It's not just play-by-play, man. It's Director of Broadcasting. I like that one, Nass. Good to see you, bud.
Fancy word for radio guy.
I like that. Director of Broadcasting equals radio guy. But it's amazing when we were talking to you before the commercial break about how many Storm Chasers are here right now, but you've got a big-time Royal there right now. How does Adalberto Mondesi look?
Doing well. 5 games so far. He had an off day yesterday. He's back in the lineup tonight at shortstop. This is actually going to be his first game here in Omaha. And he's DH'd a couple of times, played a few games at shortstop. And obviously the big thing is showing health. He's not favoring the shoulder at all. And he's put out a lot of stress on it, too. He's been facing a lot of left-handed pitchers, so he's had to bat right-handed and put a lot of strain on that shoulder. He was rusty at the plate in his first game that he returned back, and which is what you'd expect after being off for more than a month, but he seems to be getting up to speed with each passing game. And I know he's been instructed not to dive for any balls on the field or not do any head first dives while running the bases, but it really hasn't slowed his aggressiveness at all. As a runner, he's already stolen a couple of bases, so a few more games here, and provided that he shows the health of his shoulder is sound, I think you can expect him in Kansas City this weekend.
And Mark, I wanted to ask you about Jorge Bonifacio, a name that everybody here is familiar with. Maybe doesn't have a lot to show with regard to his average. His power numbers is there. Has he been driving the baseball consistently?
Yeah, Monty, just like Brett Phillips, who's with you guys now, he got off to a really slow start with the Storm Chasers. He was hitting under 200 for a few months of the seasons. And really, to me, the thing that propelled him was the brief call-up that he had with Kansas City, where he hit 350 for the week, had some big hits. And to me, he's come back down a different guy. And since about the 4th of July, he's been hitting about 280 with power. And like you talked about, leading the club with 20 home runs. He's had an OPS of better than 850 during that stretch. And defensively, he's quietly put together an outstanding year. He's got the most outfield assists in the club with 12 and one of the tops in the league in that category.
And Eric Mejia is a player that I saw in spring training camp, and I was quite impressed with him with the bat. Tell us a little bit about what he's done this season.
Yeah, picked him up during a trade last year in a 3-way deal with the White Sox and the Dodgers. And this is his first year in AAA. He's been a steady performer for this club. There's not really one tool that stands out. He just does a little bit of everything that you'd like to see a baseball player do well. He hits, he gets on base, he's versatile, he's a solid defender who plays 5 positions. He's played second, short, third, center field, right field this year. He's got speed. He's stolen 15 bases. And I think if you ask Brian Polberg who's his most valuable player, I think it would be Eric Mejia, just because of his versatility. And because of those traits, he's the guy that I could see, when the rosters expand, potentially getting a call-up this month.
And Arnaldo Hernandez is a pitcher, doesn't have great numbers on the year, but apparently he's been throwing the ball extremely well here lately.
Yeah, got off to a very slow start. He's on the 40-man roster, but has been on fire this month. He's got 4 straight quality starts, and he saved the best for last night. 8 innings of one-hit baseball. He faced 1 over the minimum. He only threw 83 pitches. He allowed a first-inning double, and he had 2 different stretches where he retired 10 batters in a row. It was the best performance this year by a Storm Chasers pitcher. So nice to see Arnaldo really finishing strong in 2019.
All right, so maybe that's a guy being on the 40-man that we could see. Another one that I would expect, no guarantees, Mark, would be Heath Meyer. Cal Eldred even mentioned recently, hey, I want to see this guy in this situation, this guy in this situation. And he threw Phil Meyer's name out there, kind of foreshadowing that a little bit. I know it's been a rough season health-wise, and we saw so much of Heath last year. He's a tough kid. How's he doing?
You're right. He did get hurt in the month of May. He injured his shoulder, went down to Arizona, Joel, for about 6 weeks. So he's come back and he's pitched out of the pen, and he's also been used as an opener, and he's just had success. And like you said, because he's on the 40-man roster, I would think Heath is a candidate for a call-up when, September hits.
Well, another year almost in the book for you and the Storm Chasers, and I know you're going to start to see some big-time prospects trickling into there next year. So, Mark, if we don't talk to you, well, we always talk to you off camera anyway, but have a great off season, and we appreciate the insight as always.
Anytime, fellas. Thanks for having me on.